Welcome back to the Conscious Salon Podcast. So our guest today is a true force in the beauty industry, known for her incredible versatility and unwavering passion. She's a trailblazer who has worn more hats than most of us could even imagine. A therapist, an educator, a business development manager, a community creator, the director of a not-for-profit organisation, and a global partnership specialist. Now she's the founder of Inside Industry Consulting, where she's accelerating brands and redefining what success looks like in marketing. Her passion for connection and innovation has shaped her into being one of the most recognisable names in our industry. If there's an event in beauty or the aesthetics world, chances are that you'll find her centre stage as an MC, a keynote speaker or networking at the event. Mm-hmm. But that's just one side of her story. Behind the scenes, she's a devoted mum to her son Jackson and twin girls, Pia and Isla. From working on cruise ships to founding Beauté and ABIC, the Aesthetic Beauty Industry Council, she's shown us that growth isn't always linear, but it is always meaningful. Her ability to navigate life's transformations, balance motherhood, and build an empire is nothing short of remarkable. It's an honour to have her joining us for the Motherhood series to share her insights, her journey, and her wisdom. Please welcome the incredible Tamara Reid to the Conscious Salon Podcast.
Yay! Thank you.
How does it feel hearing all of that about yourself?
Oh, do you know what? It's so crazy because we were saying off mic just prior to, jumping on, I do a lot of podcasts, girlfriend can yap, and it's always about like beauty, business, industry, community. And so hearing the mum side is like, oh, I did that. I do that.
Bloody impressive. I mean, and this is you've achieved so much in such a short amount of time as well. All while having 3 littles under, we've just established 4.
Three under three for a minute there. Yeah.
Which is wild. This is stuff that most people don't achieve in a lifetime, and you've achieved it already and still plenty to go, I imagine.
Yeah.
It's pretty bloody impressive. I was reading that and I was like, wow, that's so good. So
you've lived so many different lives and versions of yourself. And this is as entrepreneurs, a lot of the time we can move from thing to thing to thing.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard for a lot of people to stay focused on one thing, but you've obviously got so many different versions of yourself, which will help you run any business that you open. Tamara, we love to start every episode of this series with one question. What is your key to staying conscious?
Oh, what's my key to staying conscious? That is a great question, a really good question, because I think for me anyway, but I know this is probably to be true of women and then mums definitely, is we're always hip hopping from one thing to the next. I've got to book vaccines for Jackson because he's turning 4 and then I've got to get the ninja who's coming to his 4th birthday party, and then it's okay, I've got to organise the invites, and then I've got to jump on and do the blog because I visited Adore Beauty's opening yesterday. And so just staying conscious is kind of just for me just being grounded, and this is probably the most simple and silly little thing ever, but it is, you see on TikToks, oh my God, that girl needs to touch some grass. It's just actually that. So taking my shoes off, being outside with my kids when we're running around the sprinkler or jumping in and out of the pool, it's okay, let's just actually sit, touch the grass and just be grounded, because the hip hopping it's too much.
It's a lot. And even when we hear even that quick roundup then, the Ninja Party, we've got the Adore Beauty launch, we've got all of these little integral parts of your day, your day to day. It's so, I think, pivotal to actually be able to swap from each mode and not, do you ever find that a bit of a transition, especially with obviously with your littles, they only know you as mum.
Yeah.
Tamara, the mother. And I'm sure they're aware that you're busy and working, but obviously with our littles, they don't really fully understand what we're doing or how we're moving about each day. How do you find the transition of being able to fully immerse yourself or ground yourself back into, okay, cool, now I'm mum and I'm not going to be responding to emails or separate or, answering phone calls or thinking about what event I've got to do, scheduling, whatever it is that you can busy yourself with. How do you go with managing that?
It's really difficult. When I'm with my kids and an email comes in or the industry is in the microwave and something's blowing up and, I need to be reactive.
Yes.
I can sometimes be the wrong reactive. And by nature of texting or quickly, I'm a big voicemail person, By nature of doing that, I can be quick and sharp and short.
Sharp and short.
And so people think or take that the wrong way. And I'm like, no, I'm also just organizing a circus of children over here.
Yes.
Like if you want an answer now, it's going to be sharp and short. Do you know what I mean?
Direct and to the point.
And they're screaming in the background and you've just got to deal with that. But it's not the right way to be in some situations because they require a little bit more proactivity or softness or the beauty industry needs soft, you know? And so, yeah, it's a really hard to like switch context. And I do have really firm boundaries now, which is probably after 3 years of being a mum where I didn't have boundaries, which is now like you can have me before the hours of 7 because my kids wake up at 7. I am sometimes online then, or you can message me then and you'll get a straight answer. But between 7 and 9, when I have to do the circus of the kids and the 3 breakfasts and my husband's running out the door and all the things, I can't be a business person in that time.
Absolutely.
But as soon as I drop them off, I'm switched back on.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Because you must have so many people. Obviously, hair and beauty is so different.
Yeah.
So different.
Yeah.
So I'm beauty background, Tess is hair background. And even therapists in their nature are so different to hairdressers. And we all have an undertone of, there are a lot of crossovers, but very, very different fundamentally as people. But I imagine because you've almost been like a Jackie Felgate of the beauty industry. Like if there's something that's, as you say, something's on fire, something's changing in our industry, we can guarantee you that Tamara Reid's going to talk about it in some capacity. So I can imagine that you would have so many people reaching out to you for business advice. I've got this problem. Can you help me put out this fire? What do you think about this?
Yes.
And even though that's such a privilege to be able to be that voice for so many people, it can be really hard, especially when you're putting those boundaries in and being able to have a life that's outside of work. Otherwise we're online, and because you now work online only would be really difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do just want to make sure, they say the old, like these moments go by so fast and all of a sudden you're a baby and now you're 4 years old and all of this kind of stuff, but it truly does. And so when I'm with my kids, I don't want to have my phone in my hand, and this might be horrible, but my kids look at a beer can and say, Dad, and they look at a phone and say, Mama, right?
Who's relating to that right now? Everyone's like, yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I don't want them to look at a phone and think mum. You know what I mean? Like I want them to, I don't know what I want them to look at and think of me, but just maybe not that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't want to be, when they're looking at me and smiling, I'm not conscious that they're looking at me smiling because I'm replying back or I'm on Instagram. So I do put those boundaries into place. And you're right. I said this to somebody the other day, but my DMs, I can be in 40 conversations at any one time.
Wow.
Which is mental. And it's like that. Can I pick your brain? What do you think about this? Are you going to Beauty Expo? Let's organize this dinner. Can I reschedule? And it's like,
can you come and do a podcast with us?
Guilty. And it's that's just what happens. You know what I mean? And I guess because of kids, prior to kids, I should say, I was so accessible and I was always on, always replying back within, 30 minutes most. Now that I've had kids, I guess that expectation bar has been set, but I need to kind of go, well, no, I'm with my kids in these hours. You get me from 9 till 4 and then, from 8 when I'm back on until when I'm going to sleep. But those boundaries have to be really firm on my end.
Yeah. That's still like, I feel like you're still really keeping yourself open for like our industry, especially. Like that's a pretty, like starting it beforehand, having that time block, then coming back on, it's pretty impressive. Like I'm like, wow, I feel like even that people are going to be hearing this and thinking, cool, I can have this look how I want it. So I can have staggered amounts of time where I can connect and then have that, like it doesn't have to look like one way or, you have to be on from 9 till 6 or we can really create those boundaries however we want them to look and what works best for you.
Absolutely. And I've got clients in the US, clients in the UK, and time zones are really, really tricky, right? Like my 8 p.m. is their 11 a.m.
Yes.
So I would rather do a call at 8 p.m. for their 11 than try and do it at 5 for their 9 where the kids haven't even been fed yet.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And exactly as you said, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's your business. No one said 9 to 5 was a thing in 2025.
This is a thing.
It can be 6 till 2. It can be 10 till 2, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
You tell people when you're on.
Nikki and I talk about this often, this is one of the big things that we talk about with, mums and people in the industry.
What do we always say?
What do we?
It's your parliament.
Yeah, it's your parliament.
You make the
get to make the
decisions,
rules.
yeah.
You get to make however it looks, and it can look however. I feel like really breaking that mold of what a typical 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 or whatever. Even that we were talking about the breakdown with the Saturdays. Saturdays are becoming a thing of the past for so many.
We're about to go to a 4-day work week with our girls, so.
And even that, it can be such a thing. Like I remember when Nikki and we've been talking about it for years, and we were like, no. I kept saying, no, that's our moneymaker. That's this and that. When we actually went through the stats, well, no, it's not. And we'd already reduced the hours quite significantly for our girls to have better balance than when we brought it to them of like, cool, you guys choose your hours. We'll work within that. They've chosen it. They're still working full time, but they've managed to it's more important for them now to have that 4-day work week, 3 days of freedom. Still working the same amount of hours. So, yes, it's a bit more high impact, high input for the 4 days, but then 3 days to kind of chill and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
It can look however you want. And I feel like that's the thing we need to get our head around, especially as mums, business owners, entrepreneurs, busy women. We need to have that freedom and openness to even just explore these avenues of how it can look.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful you even shared the staggered rostering, because I feel like that will rostering for yourself. Because that's something that so many people wouldn't consider doing, or how that would look, or having that conscious time of I'm with my family, this is it. I'll respond to this later or anything. Yeah. So great.
Tamara, I would love to rewind the clock a little bit and talk about when you fell pregnant with Jackson. So obviously having 3 kids under 3 and having your son, and then going for a second pregnancy and finding out that you were having twins.
Was that a surprise in itself, I feel?
Shit the bed.
Yeah.
There's no attachment other than shit the bed. Yeah.
Did you find out in an ultrasound?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because we had just such a roller coaster of a birth with Jackson. And I might be going forward to come backwards, but I'll answer your question. Yeah, and I never wanted more than one. After Jackson, I was like, 1 and done. That is me, 1 king kid. Put it to bed, go get a vasectomy, right? Absolutely done.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
this is your life.
Who's laughing now though?
This is Nikki who's had the vasectomy, so thank goodness.
And no twins on the horizon.
Well, he's booked in now, don't you worry.
It's essential now.
Listening to this squirming in his chair. But he goes, oh, Tam, what about the pineapple hair? They put the little pineapple, little top knot on their hair, and the hair comes out and it looks like a pineapple. And I was like, damn it, you got me fine. Yeah. So we went back.
I love that was the thing that got you over.
I know, the pineapple hair, imagine. Yeah, the hair and beauty industry girly,
Who
right?
Who would have known?
And then I was just manifesting and doing all the things, the sexy time things to get the girl, right? There's before ovulation, blah, 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 won't bore you. And I was like, no, we are having a girl for sure. And then, went into the 6-week scan. I think you can only have it 6 weeks. Memory is better than mine about that. And the first scan, and he wasn't even going to come because I was like, been here before, you can't see anything, it's just a little chia seed at the moment, that's kind of it.
I had that. I thought the ultrasound was going to be amazing.
Very anticlimactic.
Yeah. That's it, is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I was on my way, called him, hey, go on a scan, and he goes, I'll just finish a job, I'll meet you there. And I was like, radio. And she's like, there's 2. And I just swore.
Could you see it on the ultrasound, straight up, or was it
I couldn't see it, but she said there's 2.
Well, yeah, I guess we don't know.
And straight away I was like, you're lying. No, we can't do this. We can't do this.
We checked in with you before we jumped on air, because our mum's a fraternal twin, so she's got a twin brother. So it's in our family, and I was saying how everyone in this generation, as we're all, having our babies, no one yet has had a child, which means that the rest of we've got quite an extensive list of cousins. No one's had twins yet. But everyone's got that hold your breath
Everyone's
moment.
been holding their breath.
We have it's definitely just one. But you wouldn't have even gone in with that.
No idea.
No.
Absolutely. It just never even crossed my mind. Ever crossed my mind.
What did you say?
I just said, we can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do this. I was hysterically, weirdly crying, laughing. No. Looked at my husband. He looked like he was going to spew on the floor. And I'm looking at this lady and she's like, yeah. And then she's like, we have to go internal to just double check, but I can see 2 sacs because they're fraternal. So
Yes.
2
So
sacs,
not
2
identical.
placentas,
Yes.
literally double everything.
Oh my gosh, that's wild to think about
she's
too.
like, just go get changed, walk to the bathroom, bawling my eyes out, come back to the bathroom, bawling my eyes out. And she's like, yep, there's 2. And I was like, absolutely fucking not.
No. That's no. I've agreed to 1 pineapple balm.
Yeah,
Not 2.
exactly.
I've only bought 1 packet of hair ties. We can't have 2.
Yeah. I was like,
Because even
nah.
that's wild to think about because you've already got a son there as well.
Yes.
Like I'm like, that's already like
So
the people mover.
Jackson would have been about 2 at this point.
Yeah, it was before his 2nd birthday.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, how?
Yeah.
Also,
literally.
wow.
How I know.
How and wow.
So I was just, we were so smug going in because he was a nightmare of a birth, a nightmare child, screamed every waking hour, like 25 hours out of 24 a day, screamed this child.
What if you're like,
So
we'll do another one.
Oh, well, we were like, nothing
We'll
can
get
be
2.
worse. Nothing could be worse.
Tell you what.
It's all uphill.
Do you know what? I'll give you 2. How do you like them apples?
We'll see how they Oh my God. But you've really tested the universe and been like, cool, Tamara.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you what you wanting.
I know. So that
Wow.
was fun.
So
yeah.
how long did it take you to get your head around it and be like, okay, cool, this is happening. This is something like
I reckon I didn't speak for like a week.
fair.
I was just in shock.
It's pretty shocking, yeah.
And then my like logical, practical A-type personality was like, what do I need? Because I've got 1 car chair, I've got 1 cot, I've got 1 pram seat. Like
God,
it
yeah,
was
the
just like, I need
logistics.
double of everything. I need more than, I need 3 car seats. Like, do I need a bigger car? No.
thing. I
Okay,
need
but
the
what about
bus.
the house? Do you know what I mean? And then
The
it was
house,
just
yes.
like, do, list.
Yes.
Like I just went into absolute planning mode. And then I was like, who do I need to know? Sign up to the Twin Association. I was just like, I want to know everything about what I'm
That is
getting
a good
myself into.
thought. Yes, I wouldn't think that
You
is
gotta
a
put
very
yourself
logical
into the room
That
to
is the
learn
A-type
things.
personality because I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, I'll just need to like get a big bus and a big house and
A bus.
win the lottery
Exactly.
to be able to pay for all this.
That and the ninja party.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously a massive shock, and you were still running 2 businesses then. So can we go a little bit back to come forward? So
Yes.
I want to talk about obviously what you went through with Jackson and whatever you're wanting to share on that,
Yeah.
and how you actually navigated that being a business owner, and how you then eventually came to the decision to sell the businesses.
Yes. So I had Beauty, which was running podcast, membership, events, all of the different things, almost 10,000 in the community at that stage. And ABIC, this was 2020. And we were going to government with, we've got almost 10,000 people in this community. You're letting hairdressers open, but why can't you have beauty people open? You've got threading happening in
forgot
the
about
shopping
that.
centres, and they've got the thread in their mouth, but you're not letting someone do a facial who
I've
has
forgotten
like
about that.
better
How wild's
PPE. Right.
Because we still had our beauty part of our business at that point. Wow.
Yes. So crazy. And so I was going to government on behalf of Beauty, and they were like, oh, but you're a Facebook community. It's not like a non-for-profit. It's not a registered organization. Like they wanted something more official. And so hindsight, I should have just switched the business up to be a non-for-profit organization. But, again, being reactive, I was like, we need a whole new bloody business. Insert ABIC. And so, we started ABIC to better advocate for the beauty segment.
Yeah.
Obviously, Australian Hairdressing Council, AHC, was doing an incredible job. I freaking love Sandy Chong for hair, but there was such a big space for beauty. I had Jackson, and I think the problem with what I thought about being a mum and what a mum is like 2 totally different things. And I just thought that, and I was telling my sister this because my sister's pregnant, and I just truly thought that Instagram was real life. And I thought that these beautiful, yummy mummies who were sitting at the cafe, drinking their lattes, snapping a beautiful picture of like breastfeeding and having a coffee at the same time, it's not real, but your brain still thinks that it's real.
Wait, it's not. I'm about to enter this. I'm like,
Hang
wait,
on.
can we
Rude
talk
awakening
about
for
this
you.
after? In my world, it's still happening.
It's still real.
Yeah.
And so, I had this birth. And again, you don't imagine anything's going to go wrong with your birth. I just thought that I'm a woman, and I would walk down the supermarket shopping centre aisles and I'd be like, oh, she did it, or she did it, surely I can do this. And we just had such a complicated birth. He got stuck on the way out. This is some trigger warnings, but yeah, we had to revive him. And then I was losing a whole heap of blood and the placenta got stuck and all of these crazy, crazy things. I didn't get to see him for 3 hours until afterwards. And we were both touch and go the whole time.
Tamara.
And I guess that kind of ended up in like a lot of trauma, postnatal depression on the other side. And I was trying to run these 2 bloody businesses. And I had 10,000 people in this community asking me if they can fricking open their doors, which I love doing pre-Jackson. But when I was in that state and I was trying to sign partnership deals and we had a board of 10 people and we had, advocating to government, I think a lot of people go into motherhood and they want flexibility. But I was like, this business owner thing is too flexible. I want a 9 to 5. This has thrown me so much that I want something that can be stable for me. And Timely, the software company at the time, said, we're hiring for a head of brand. Do you know anyone for this role? And I replied, me, he. Who the bloody hell replies that? Anyway, and then they were like, okay, jump on an interview.
They said, do you know anyone else? You got a response like that.
Cute, but no. But for some silly reason, they said yes. And so I got on this call. Jackson screamed the entire time. I thought I'd absolutely gas this interview, stuffed it, never going to hear from them again. They said, let's have another one.
Bring Jackson. We love it.
Jackson.
We love the craziness, just minus the child. And at the time, I was kind of having these conversations with ABIC. And a lot of the things campaign-wise we wanted to do at ABIC, I was going, I'll get the beauté community, let's kind of propel the reach and the expansion over to the beauté community because we need their voice and we need more eyeballs and more ears and blah, blah, blah. And I just started seeing these synergies of I've created 2 businesses that are basically doing the same thing, just one is in a less official kind of capacity. And so I started putting out the fillers. Does anyone want to buy it? What would that even look like? I never came here to sell, but I can't keep running it and I don't want to just throw it away. And what am I going to do with all these people sitting here? And so, we had some offers on the table. ABIC was one of them, merged one into the other. And that's kind of what you know of ABIC today. I served out the 2 years there, after the sale, you have to serve out a period of time. And stepped into Timely as Global Head of Strategic Partnerships and, was working across the UK, US, New Zealand and AU. And even though that sounds mental, it was still easier than running my own business having a child.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That is phenomenal. I'm like, how, are we sitting here with an actual real life superwoman? I think so.
Yeah, you definitely inspire a lot of people to be able to know that they can do it all, for sure.
Do it all and some.
Yeah.
So can I just touch on even with that, I don't know, you obviously had a very traumatic birth and then I can't even imagine going through that and then not even did you get to hold Jackson or was it just
No. About 3 hours later.
So he was born and then you were both treated for your separate, it obviously sounds like it was quite a lot happening.
Yes.
Then 3 hours later you guys were reunited.
Yeah.
I imagine that's had a shit ton of trauma. So even when you found out when you were pregnant again with the twins.
Yeah.
I imagine that would have come into play pretty quickly with
totally
how this might look. And not just one child, we'll have 2.
Yes, I know.
Wow.
Well, I was going to say the problem with Jackson as a baby, but it wasn't really a problem. It's not his fault. But he was 4.6 kilos.
Jesus.
And
you're
10 pound 11. So what some people go kilos, some people go pounds.
He's a big baby for context for anyone who hasn't had a baby.
It was the record weight.
What?
Wow.
Right? The record weight at that hospital.
Wow.
So to put it into perspective, I was
you're tiny.
63 kilos
Yeah, this is
birthing this almost 5 kilo child.
Did they pick that up before you'd given birth?
Well, there was a whole thing on it.
Okay.
Some people said yes, some people said no.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's this kid is
You weren't
huge.
prepped for that though. Yeah.
I wasn't prepped.
We're
no.
sorry, I've ordered a newborn, not a toddler.
Literally, right. And so this is the funniest part and I'll never forget this. And so they were wheeling me down in this wheelchair after when I finally get to go see him. And I'm not even kidding you. There was lines of nurses and doctors because there were 11 people in the room at one stage. They were clapping like you have pushed out a fucking watermelon.
Just like, thanks.
I'm not even joking. And so then we go into like NICU where, you know, they keep all the little babies, preemie babies, right? So you've got this teeny tiny little like 2 kilo, 1.8 kilo. And I'm like, where's mine? Because I don't even know at this stage that he's huge.
Yours is already taking some steps down the end.
He's at the pub, babe, eating a steak, right? Like, that's where your kid is. And I was like, where's this little child? And they're like, him at the back. And he was huge.
Wow.
And I'm literally going past all these little pieces of confetti and then I've got this kid. Yeah.
Wow. They're like the meatloaf in the jumpsuit down there.
Exactly. So then when they were like, there was 2, that's why to come back before, I was like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? 10 kilos in there plus 2 placentas plus 2 stacks.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to fall over.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Wow, that is mind-boggling.
Wow.
I mean, even with that, I'm like, the fact that you went back, I love that the palm tree was the thing that got you over. But thinking about that, I can't imagine the like reaction.
Yeah. I was just like, logically, how can they fit in there? And so the first thing I said to my OB, because I was like, right, I'm not going to do public. I want to go private. I want, you know, a whole different experience. And that's not to say one versus the other is whatever. You know, everyone has their own story. But I was just like, what do you think about a vaginal birth for me? And she was like, never again.
No.
Like, we're taking these babies out the sunroof. And I was like, excellent, let's go.
I feel like you would have a bit of relief with that. I'd be like, after especially the experience that I've had.
Yeah.
You'd be open for like anything at that point.
Yes.
That is truly remarkable though. I feel like that I'm so grateful that you've shared that because like that is such a unique experience, but also even with the I know you put the trigger warning on the trauma that's there. I feel like you talk about it in a really like positive and like empowering way. Like I'm like, we should put that in the beginning with all the things of the achievements. Also the 4.6 world winning baby record.
It's in the Guinness Book of Records. No, it's not really.
It's hilarious. Kids going places.
And I imagine, Tamara, navigating that when you've been through a trauma like that and trying to process that. I would love you to share for our listeners, what were some of the strategies that you had in place to be able to deal with that and process that? Were there any key things that really stood out to you to help you process it?
Yeah, I mean, the first kind of like 8 weeks out for us post Jackson was just like, what is going on? I just had no idea. I stupidly just went into motherhood thinking that I would, like, I'm quite a natural learner. If you give me something to do, I can just pick it up. So I just thought that that's what I was going to be able to do. But no, I was like, what do you mean I need a dark room? What do you mean people are playing white noise and sounds and lavender sprays and swaddle things? I just naively had no idea. And I should have done research, but I was just like, I'm a natural. It'll just be fine. Yeah, so silly. And so, I was just like, wow, what the heck? And so for 8 weeks, we were kind of just like figuring it out. And then my friend said to me, I think you should take him to the chiro because he was so big that he didn't want to do tummy time. He literally screamed, as I said, all day long, all night long, and couldn't lift his head. He was just like a floppy baby because he was so huge and had like no muscle things, memory or strength or anything. And so she said, you need to take him to a baby chiro. So I was like, rightio, baby chiro, off we go. You just listen in those stages, you know, you're just like so, I don't know, I'll take anything. Give me all the advice.
We're going to take him to a baby psychic.
yeah, exactly. And we went to the baby chiro and so she said, okay, send me across like all the birth papers, you know. And then we got there and she was like, so tell me what happened. And I was kind of like, oh, just this happened in the birth. And then this doctor came in and we pressed this button and, you know, doctors and nurses came flying from the ceiling and and she
I got a round of applause.
Yeah, exactly.
I broke a record.
Yeah. And she was like, so let me read you this paper. And then she was like, this happened and this happened and this happened. And do you know what this score means? And I was like, hang on, what? Because we had just, I don't know, we're just learning so much about what the heck a baby is and how to do baby life that I didn't really think about. We might need to process what happened, you know what I mean? And then I was driving home because it was about a 45-minute drive and I was like, what the heck? And then my husband didn't come with me to that appointment and he got home and I was like, we need to talk because did you know all this? And he was like, I watched it. What do you mean? And I was like, hang on, so you saw all of that. Are you okay? Am I okay? And I guess from that point we started having the conversations that I didn't realize were needed to be had. And so we were just telling each other stories, and I would say, oh, do you remember this part? And he was like, yeah. So from what I saw, and do you remember this part? And then we called the hospital, and I was like, can we come back and just like someone tell us what the freaking hell happened here? So it was just like a lot of talking and healing. And then, yeah, like in preparation to go into, okay, do we want another one? What's going to happen? Yeah, a little bit smug, but healed, relatively healed.
It sounds like you guys really took the time and processed it. Even like I'm thinking about like how hearing that back from that like third party of like the chiropractor telling you like, this is like, okay, listen to this. You must have been like, oh, like you'd almost feel like out of body. Like that didn't happen to me. Like it was, and even hearing like you and your hubby talking about it, as much as there's healing, like I feel like that would have been such a like unbelievable realization of like fuck, what I've actually gone through is really unique and really massive. I had goosebumps the whole time when you were talking then. Like it's so, and like the fact that you went back for more.
I know.
It's bloody impressive. I'll say that. And I think, this is something that can be really inspiring to so many people because fear, birth trauma around like hospitals, all of these things are so, I feel people have these problems or like concerns or fears and people don't talk about it. So when we have conversations like this is when it really does like normalize it for people. Allows people the freedom to be like, oh, I can actually go back and talk to the hospital and be like, hey, I've got some questions about what happened. Or talking to your partner, whoever it is, talking to anyone and actually getting some clarity rather than just being like, yeah, but you're fine now. Just move on and just, just focus on the kid or whatever it is.
And it was that kind of day that was the real light bulb when I was like, hang on, there's all this stuff here. Maybe that's why this kid's screaming. He's not just a shitty baby. Like he's gone through trauma. I've gone through trauma. Like I didn't know postpartum rage was a thing, postpartum depression. I had no idea about anything. And then we went a bit woo-woo for a little bit and we were getting like Reiki healers in and we were doing all of the things like naturopaths and, just to kind of like, go like do as much healing for him and I as possible that we could. But I think sometimes people don't know that there's the trauma there and that's probably more difficult. Whereas, if I didn't have that chiro, probably be a mess on the floor right now.
I feel like I've consumed so much content about you over the years and you were so pivotal for me when I was working as a therapist to have someone to look up to and someone who I just thought was incredible.
Thank you.
And I feel like I've consumed every piece of content that you've ever done and I never knew that until we talked about this podcast episode. I never knew that you'd been through that. And we can find so much on Tamara Reid, the face of beauty in Australia and even globally. But we haven't heard that much about the behind the scenes. It's almost like you've had two separate versions of you. And it's really, really special. I really want to honour you for allowing us to being able to bring the two together today. It's huge.
And I was even saying that, like no one's really asked, and I think a lot of podcast conversations these days are business, but I would love to go on Australian birth stories and tell my birth story.
Seriously, like
it might traumatize too many people though.
But even it's a story that needs to be told. I feel like the things where people have like big reactions, like they're the ones that we need to hear because I feel like this. You think about how many like there would be other people that have had your experience who either haven't healed from it or have got like major traumas and things like, and even when you were like, I've gone a bit, we went a bit woo-woo, who fucking cares at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, you can sit here now and say that and like share that. And like, as Nikki said, so grateful that you've shared it because I know this is going to like truly help so many people hearing this sort of conversation. But you can do that because you've done the work. Whereas there'll be people that like, I think we talked about this over the weekend, even with our grandmothers recently. We've got, two of our grandmas are, 99 and 97. The things that I've learned about them in the last 2 years from having real conversations with them versus the, like rubbish that I knew before, I feel like they've told me things about their own birthing things, like miscarriages that they've had, birth traumas, even questioning whether they were feeling super maternal or that they should have had children. Things that they were never allowed to talk about. When we have these tough conversations, it normalizes it for the rest of us. And then I just think about our kids growing up with this. The more we normalize, the easier it's going to be for them. Hopefully, the less issues and traumas. I mean, we'll probably still fuck them up in one way or another, but hopefully not as severe. Thank you for sharing that. It was amazing.
Of course.
Tamara, we love to ask everyone a little split question here. So we want to hear about your best, most incredible day that you've ever had in business. And on the flip side, the hardest, most difficult day that you've ever had in business, and those two parallels.
Oh, goodness. The best day I've ever had in business. Oh, my goodness. What would it be? There was
Take a minute if you need to have a little think.
Yeah. I think probably like the most full circle moment I've had was when I got to keynote on stage for Dermalogica. And you will understand this as a beauty therapist, right? Like Dermalogica girlies who are maybe like 30 to mid-30s, 40s will get this.
100%.
Everyone else will be like, nah. But our demographic understands it. Yeah. That like Dermalogica was like the pinnacle
we
of
were
industry.
a Dermalogica salon.
Dermalogica,
Of course,
I
still use the antioxidant Hydra Mist, by the way. I still love it.
That is elite.
My husband says to me, can you just like knock on head office door and ask for that shave scrub back?
Right,
remember that one in the red and the white?
They discontinued it.
Discontinued it. I know.
it's
He
criminal.
probably asked me about that at least a couple of times a year. And I'm like,
Well, we'll put it out there again. We'll see what comes. They might bring it back.
I'm not that powerful. I'm not. But
I reckon you are.
that was like a real moment for me. I don't know if I would say it's like the best day in business, but it was a really special day because as a therapist, like 18-year-old Tamara, all I wanted to do was work for Dermalogica and be like a BDM, you know, traveling around. I thought that was just going to be like the luxe job. Like that was the ceiling.
They're like the glamour girlies. They're like our real life Barbies. We looked at them and we're like, oh my God, they're everything. Yeah.
Exactly. In the perfect grey suit and the perfect hair. And I think that amplified it even more for me when I got to go to London and the UK and like see their trade shows over there are just absolutely insane. And the Dermalogica ladies, like, so when I got asked to keynote for their summit and it was all of their, you know, top salon owners and, you know, performing businesses, I was like, you want me on your stage? Like, I just want to work for you guys. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really, really special moment for me.
Wow.
That is amazing.
I think still the hardest day in business, even though they weren't my businesses, was March 26, 2020, when the beauty industry got closed down. I can viscerally remember sitting in my lounge room, pre-kids, husband on the side in Queensland, our little unit, and like them saying, you know, beauty businesses must close, this must close, that must close, because the flurry that happened after that and the uncertainty, the panic, the just absolute grey area that our industry went into, what the hell am I going to do? Even though, as I say, that wasn't my business, I was having beauty at the time, but you can imagine like 8,000-10,000 bees all buzzing around confused. That's what the community was like, you know, and I was just like, what am I going to do for these people? So it was like the worst time in their business, which meant it was a really hard day for me as well.
Yeah.
Worse for them, but it was just one of those days.
I think though when we hear about that, because as you said, like in terms of a business side, it was a different experience. However, the fact that you care so deeply about this community and you've got like they're like your 8,000 and 10,000 little mini babies out there as well. It was such a traumatic time. Like I remember hearing that news and just being like, what the fuck is going on and where the fuck are we headed? Like it was just, and it was, as we spoke about earlier, it was so confusing because then when hair was allowed to reopen, we had a hair and beauty salon at the time. And so we had half of our team able to work, the other half not. And even that was like, well, where's the logic in that? Because we can have some people in here, but we can't have, it just didn't make sense. It was all touch. It's all close. It was, and I know everyone was doing the best that they could at the time, but it was
very confronting.
It was really traumatic. And I can't even imagine for like then having kind of 8,000 to 10,000 heads turn around and be like, Tamara, Mama Tamara, what do we do?
And different states had different rules.
Totally.
You know, so that's what was the most confusing part. And they would update them constantly. Like there was one stage where home salons could open, but actual bricks and mortar beauty spaces couldn't. And I was on the phone, was it Tanya Cleversec or someone from government, and I was like, "What are you doing?
Totally.
Like, who's
Make this make
giving
sense.
you this advice?
Totally.
Yeah,
And
what's
they're just
actually
waking
happening?"
up and going, fuck it, we'll do that. Let's try that.
Yeah, I was like, but her kitchen's right there, and what?
It's wild, but I think, and that's the thing. I think you
Complicated
we, yeah,
time
we
for
can
sure.
forget about it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't even imagine for you.
And I think the biggest thing, as you know, when you're in the space of consultancy or mentoring or advising people, it's really, really hard because you become so emotionally invested, especially as therapists and as hairdressers. We're based on connection.
Yeah.
So for us, if our clients bleed, we bleed with them. You feel that on a deep level. So if you had 10,000 people looking to you for advice, what do we do here? That is just such a huge weight to hold and to share. Speaking of legacy in our industry, I would love to know what you want to leave behind in our industry and what you want to be known for.
That's hard. It's hard. And you know what? It changed. It changed when I had my girlies because I don't know why, but something about birthing a boy and birthing girls just hits different. And when my girls came in, maybe it was because I was like, Jackson, maybe not, is going to not be in our industry. You know what I mean? Maybe he's going to be the best damn dermal therapist you know. You never know, right?
Another
but
James
also,
Vivian.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like, I don't know, I just thought like maybe they want to carry on in my footsteps.
Yeah.
And I just felt instantly protective over what I'm building in this industry and what I'm creating for them. Like I've had some terrible conversations and terrible leadership and terrible management and micromanagement and just shitty situations with shitty people in this industry. And I've just been like, not my girls. You know what I mean? They can't have those same conversations.
100%.
They will not experience what I did. And it's probably like too helicopter mummy because you can't shield them from everything. But if I can change anything about this industry and leave a legacy, it will be that. I want people to say, it is community over competition. And I remember that from Tamara back in 2017 or 20, whatever the years are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I want
that's
people
beautiful.
to probably just remember that, and not in like the most toxic positively way either, because that can also be a bad thing. And we should feel our feels and have real and raw honest conversations. But I just want the industry to cut the shit basically. And I want to just be known for being open and honest and transparent so that people can have a career here and not just waft in and then stay for a few years and then nick off and become a personal trainer or go into being nursing. Like you can have this as a career. And I think that's probably my making mark.
Oh, I love that.
Wow.
How good. Leaving the industry better than how you found it.
Yes.
Definitely.
Tamara, our final question that I want to wrap on. So for us, the reason that we wanted to do this motherhood series is because we really want to show women in our industry that have a limiting belief that they can't have it all. They can't build incredible teams and careers and businesses with babies on their hips. And you've proven that you can absolutely do it. Obviously, it's a juggle, but you can
One on
absolutely
each hip and also one on your foot.
one on the
That's how I
shoulders.
do it. Yeah.
Shoulders is better.
But I would love to know if you could go back to Tamara, who was pregnant with Jackson, and tell her one thing, one little piece of gold.
Yes.
What would you tell her?
Oof.
Babies need dark rooms. No, I'm joking. I
I need to write that down.
yeah, and the sleep machine.
Invest in blinds.
yeah, white noise. It was probably just take the time. I was working day 6. I have this photo and I've never shared it because I don't really share my kids too much on social media. I chose consciously to not show their faces because I don't know what the heck is going on with AI and ChatGPT and all the things. It's too scary for me.
Totally.
So I don't show their faces, but I have this photo where I'm literally breastfeeding Jackson in one arm and I'm on the laptop with another. And it was just silliness. And I understood, and I still understand now, that I did what I had to do to keep the business running, to keep my team of 6 who I had at the time, and also my mental health, because coming out of Babyland is healthy for me. But to reconnect with Jackson and to probably heal a bit faster and just to take the time, like the community will pause. Most of the hair and beauty industry are also mums. You don't need to be the superwoman who comes back to work on day 6 and shows up and does a live. Who the fuck cares?
Totally.
You know what I mean? You can take time for you, take time for your kids. It's actually needed. And I would just say that, like, just relax, Tamara. Everyone's going to survive. You know what I mean? You can come back to work on day 10 and that's also okay, or 12 or 30. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Or 6 months if you want.
Totally. Whatever. And I did with the girlies. I took 6 months.
I was about to ask, did you take longer with the girls versus?
And also that was paid maternity leave.
Yeah.
So it's a big privilege not working for yourself and working for another person.
1,000%.
But so needed. And that lesson that I learned at the start, I did go back and correct. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just take the time.
Wow. I love that. God, that perfect. What a beautiful way to wrap.
Incredible. Tamara, I want you to plug yourself. Obviously, if anyone's from the beauty industry and they're living under a rock and they haven't heard of you, where can we find you and what have you got coming up?
Yes. So yeah, my new business, only 5 months in now, Inside Industry Consulting. We are a brand marketing agency for hair and beauty brands. Just Google Inside Industry Consulting. I'm Tamara Reid on all the platforms.
I was going to say on Instagram.
And you have such a distinct, such a such a point of difference in terms of what you do versus what we see everywhere in the beauty industry. I'm not throwing shade at any other people that do what you do, but you really do stand out. Like I have looked through and watched all the things that you've done, but the work that you do in your consulting and even just the advice that you give people in your community online and the things that I learned from you from your day of series, like what was it, the 10 days?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, like the things that I learned from your series watching that. If you are not following Tamara, whether you're from the hair or the beauty industry, she's just someone that you absolutely need to follow. So
it's so real with it too. I think that's the point of difference to Tamara. You're like authentic, real, no bullshit. And like we need more of that. I love it. Tamara Reid, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for holding space for me. I appreciate it.
What an honour. Thank you. I feel like we need a part 2, part 3, part 4. Co-host, triple host. Do we add another thing onto there?
You go on mat leave, I'll step in.
Oh, done. We've got it on recording.
Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Conscious Salon Podcast.
Love you guys. Stay conscious.